John Robert Davis, and my nickname is Shooter. Born here in Peterborough, February the 7th, 1944, and right now I'm 75. I used to live in Townsend Street, not too far away from Miller Bowl, which you see here. The other side of Miller Bowl was Little Lake. I never learned how to swim because I never got by Miller Bowl. I followed my brother, Terry. He was the water boy for the old timbermen back in the 50s. When they used to play, Terry used to be able to go to the bench. Me, I was assistant water boy. I used to come behind the bench, and when the bottle got empty, he'd throw it over the fence to me. I'd get it, run into the dressing room, fill it, come back over, throw it back over the fence so the players could have the water on the bench. And that's where I started. I picked the stick up when I was 3, started organized when I was 5. I followed Terry whatever he did in lacrosse, basically, and all through the minors, even junior and senior. And there was nobody else left, just the 2 boys. We had 3 sisters, but just Terry and I in the family. Well, I got 2 granddaughters and 4 grandsons. None of them play lacrosse. And my 3 boys, they dabbed at it a little bit, but they saw how rough it was when I used to come home with stitches and cuts and bruises and that. I think that's probably what turned them off. Well, I did a lot of things. I worked in General Motors, worked here in Peterborough in Outboard Marine, sold shoes, I did roofing. I did a lot of jobs. When I finished pro back in '75, I went and played for Magog in Senior B. And then the next year I went and I was a part-time coach and a player for Magog. That was it. That was me finished. I think at the time I was ready, because you got to remember, I was 35, 36, and I started when I was 3, so that's long enough. Individual, when I played, we had a 30-game schedule. I ended up with 226 points. I had 112 goals and 114 assists. Wow. And then as far as team goes, we won 2 Mann Cups, and I happened to be the lucky winner of 2 Mike Kellys. I won it the first year that I played senior. '68, Brooklyn picked me up. They were going out west. They were allowed to pick up players to go out west. I played with Brooklyn, and that's the first time in history that they ever had 2 Mike Kelly at the same time. The style of lacrosse today, it's usually one way you get off, and then the other defensive, they would come on. In our time of day, you had to be both ways. Right. You had to play both ends of the floor, and sometimes I'd play 45, 50 minutes a game. I hope it goes just as big, if not bigger, than NHL, because it belongs up there. That's how good the sport is. As a matter of fact, I just brought in a couple from where I used to live down in Vermont for a while, and they've never seen a lacrosse game. When they saw this game, they just fell right in love with it. They never saw anything like it. Basically, I had a couple of injuries, but you're going to get that in sports. No, I was pretty healthy, because let's face it, I used to play 45, 50 minutes a game, every game. And I remember playing my first year junior in Whitby Red Wings, it was called. We had 8 players. I never got off the floor through the whole schedule. The only time I got off is if I took a cheap penalty, because I needed a rest. '61, I played with the Whitby. And at that time, we were all in Junior A. But if you didn't make the Junior A playoffs, the teams that didn't make the Junior A playoff, they went into B. So we went into B, and we won the B. But Cy Coombs, Hastings, that year, Hastings Legionnaires, he was like, I knew him and he knew me. And he says, he picked me up to go with them to play in the Minto Cup. I said, well, I can't. I got one more game to play in the B. He said, after that, he says, we'll wait for you. You come anyway. So I missed one game of the Junior A Minto Cup, But I played the B, we won it. I went and joined them, and that's where I won the B and the junior A the same year, 61. Wow, that's a tough one. Well, I was not fast, but all my footsteps, I made them work for me. I didn't waste any. And I was pretty good with the stick. And my shooting ability comes back to Miller Bowl. After the game, like when I was assistant water boy, used to go down next day and knock in all the nails with a hammer because the nails used to pop out after a senior A game. I used to go around and knock in all the nails, but there'd be one nail sticking out this long. I used to spend 8-10 hours with a ball, trying all my different shots, driving that nail in with the ball. Wow. I did that every day. Did you really? All summer long. In senior and one in junior, my first year in junior. Just the team I was playing with, the line mates I had, and we were consistent through the whole 8 years that I won them, 66 to 73. I always had Cy Coombs on one and had Jim Patterson on my other side, and we were good. And of course, it does help if you have possession of the ball, which Joe Todd used to be our best centerman, and we had the ball up quite often. MVP, most valuable player in the Mann Cup. And the next year I went out west with Brooklyn when I got the other Mike Kelly. Well, everybody went off the floor and they left me in the center. And I didn't know why. I said, why is everybody getting off the floor? Then they made the announcement. I was picked the athlete of the year for Peterborough. 66. Well, John Ferguson come to see me right here in Peterborough, the ex-NHLer. Yep. Okay, and come in, he met my parents and all that, and said, well, we want, we'd like to have John come down, and of course my wife also. And I said, if you want me, I'll go. And so I was their first pick for Montreal. Oh, I wouldn't change anything. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's the best route I ever taken in my life. I played hockey. I was a goaltender. Yeah. Well, that's a long story. I don't want to get into that because it may make a lot of people mad at me. Well, I'm a little biased, but it's the greatest sport in the world. And the greatest place to play it is here in Peterborough. It's quite obvious. It's the hotbed of the lacrosse in the East. Everybody wants to come here to play. If I recall, I think it's for the most valuable player of this league, and a little bit of the scoring goes with it. And it was named after me to present to whoever wins it in that league. I believe it was about 5-6 years ago. Oh, I felt pretty good. It's nice to have something named after you.